Nobody saw this coming, or maybe everyone did, but just didn't expect it to explode like this. Because when the name Gucci Mane starts trending out of nowhere, you already know something serious is going down. And this time, it wasn't about music, charts, or another flashy flex on social media. This felt different, darker, personal. It all started with a few posts, subtle at first, a cryptic caption, a deleted story. Then suddenly, boom, fans are connecting dots, screenshots are spreading, and social media is going crazy, trying to figure out what's really happening behind the scenes. People are asking the same question: is Gucci Mane in some kind of drama we weren't supposed to see? And the wild part? Nobody has a clear answer. Some fans believe it's internal tension, others think it's tied to business moves. Yes, and then there are those who are convinced this is something much deeper, something personal that just accidentally spilled into the public eye. Emotions ran high as people began revisiting old interviews, past relationships, even lyrics, trying to decode hidden messages. Because in hip hop, nothing ever happens in isolation. There's always a story behind the story. But here's where things get even crazier. Unconfirmed reports suggest that what we're seeing now might just be the surface, that there's more going on behind closed doors than anyone is willing to admit publicly. And if that's true, then what we're witnessing right now might only be the beginning. So, what really happened? Why is Gucci Mane suddenly at the center of this storm? And why are fans so divided about what it all means? Let's break it all down. To understand why this situation is hitting so hard right now, you have to look at the timing, the energy, and the way everything unfolded almost too quietly before it got loud. Gucci Mane has always been someone who moves with intention. Whether it's dropping music, making business moves, or even speaking online, fans are used to a certain level of control in how he presents himself. That's why when things started feeling slightly off, people didn't ignore it. They leaned in. It began with a series of subtle social media moments that didn't seem like a big deal on the surface. A caption that felt a little too emotional. A post that disappeared shortly after going up. Fans noticed the shift immediately, and once that curiosity was triggered, everything else followed fast. People started asking questions, and those questions quickly turned into theories. What made it more intense was how quickly the internet began connecting dots that may or may not even be related. Fans went back through older posts, interviews, and even lyrics, trying to figure out if there were signs leading up to this moment. Some people believe there had been tension building for a while, just hidden beneath the surface. Others think this might be something sudden, something that happened behind closed doors and only leaked through these small digital cracks. Either way, emotions ran high as the conversation spread across platforms, with people debating what it all means. At the center of all this is the idea that Gucci Mane isn't just dealing with something random. There's a feeling that this is personal. That's what has fans so locked in on, because when an artist known for growth and stability suddenly gives off signals of frustration or conflict, it raises eyebrows. Some fans pointed out that his recent tone online didn't match the calm, focused image he's been maintaining over the years. That contrast alone was enough to spark concern and curiosity at the same time. Then came the reactions. Social media is going crazy, with people picking sides without even knowing the full story. Some are defending Gucci Mane, saying he has every right to express himself however he wants. Others are questioning what might have pushed things to this point. And then there's a whole group of fans who are just watching closely, trying to piece everything together without jumping to conclusions. Because the truth is, nothing is confirmed. And yet the conversation keeps growing louder. With another layer to this situation is the involvement, or possible involvement, of people around him. Fans started speculating about whether this could be connected to relationships within his circle, whether business or personal. Unconfirmed reports suggest there may have been disagreements or misunderstandings, but again, nothing has been clearly stated. That hasn't stopped people from analyzing every interaction, every unfollow, every silence. In today's digital world, even what someone doesn't say can become part of the story. What makes this even more gripping is how divided people are. Some believe this is just a moment of expression being blown out of proportion, something that will pass once things settle down. Others think this could be the beginning of a bigger situation, something that hasn't fully come to light yet. Well, that uncertainty is what keeps the conversation alive. Because when there's no clear answer, people fill in the gaps with their own interpretations. And through all of this, one thing remains clear: fans are invested, not just in the drama, but in the person behind it. Gucci Mane's journey has always been one of transformation, and people have followed that closely. So when something disrupts that narrative, even slightly, it feels significant. It feels like something worth paying attention to. Right now, everything is still unfolding. There's no official explanation, no direct clarification, just a series of moments that have sparked a much bigger conversation. And as more people tune in, the pressure builds for something, anything, to come out that brings clarity. Until then, all we have are reactions, theories, and a growing sense that whatever is happening, it's not as simple as it looks. As the situation continued to unfold, the energy around it shifted from curiosity to full-blown chaos. What started as subtle hints quickly turned into a storm of reactions, and suddenly it felt like everyone had an opinion. Social media is going crazy. Timelines flooded with theories, reactions, and breakdowns of every little detail people could find. Fans are shocked at how fast things escalated, especially considering how quiet everything seemed at the beginning. It was like watching a spark turn into a wildfire in real time. The first major shift came when people began pointing out patterns. It wasn't just about one post anymore. It was about multiple moments that, when put together, started to look intentional. Some fans believe Gucci Mane was sending indirect messages, possibly addressing someone without naming them. Others think it could be frustration building up over time, finally reaching a point where it couldn't be hidden anymore. The lack of direct explanation only made things more intense because it left room for interpretation, and that's where the internet thrives. Then came the reactions from people connected to the situation, or at least people fans believe might be connected. A few posts from individuals in his extended circle started getting attention, even if they seemed unrelated on the surface. Social media users began linking timelines, comparing captions, and trying to find hidden meaning in every word. Some people think these were subtle responses, while others believe it's all coincidence being blown out of proportion. But still, the conversation kept growing, pulling more and more people into the speculation. Emotions ran high as debates broke out across comment sections. One side argued that this is just how the internet works, taking small things and turning them into something massive. Another side insisted that there's no way this level of reaction could come from nothing, that something real must be happening behind the scenes. That divide made everything even more intense, because now it wasn't just about Gucci Mane anymore. It was about who people believed and what they chose to see. At the same time, older clips and interviews began resurfacing, adding fuel to the fire. Fans started revisiting moments from the past, looking for signs they might have missed before. A comment here, a facial expression there. Things that didn't seem important at the time were now being re examined with a completely different perspective. Some fans believe those past moments hint at underlying tension, while others say it's unfair to rewrite history based on current speculation. Nothing is confirmed, but that hasn't stopped people from digging deeper. What really pushed things to another level was the idea that this might not just be about emotions, it could involve business. Gucci Mane has built a reputation not only as an artist, but as someone deeply involved in shaping careers and making strategic moves. So naturally, some people think this situation could be tied to disagreements behind the scenes. Unconfirmed reports suggest there may have been issues related to deals, expectations, or loyalty, but again, there's no official statement backing any of this up. It's all based on interpretation and timing, and then there's the silence. In situations like this, silence can be louder than words. Fans expected some kind of clarification, some kind of direct response, but instead, there's been a noticeable absence of explanation. That silence has only intensified the speculation, with people wondering if it's intentional or if there's something more complicated going on that can't be addressed publicly. Some fans believe the silence means something big is being handled privately, while others think it's just a matter of letting the noise die down on its own. Meanwhile, the internet continues to react in waves. Every new post, every new comment, every small interaction becomes another piece of the puzzle people are trying to solve. When it's reached a point where even unrelated content is being pulled into the conversation, analyzed for possible connections. That's how deep things have gone. Nothing feels separate anymore. Through all of this, one thing is clear: people are watching closely. The situation has gone from a question mark to a full on discussion dominating fan spaces, and yet, despite all the noise, the actual truth remains unclear. People are divided, theories are everywhere, and emotions are still running high. The only thing everyone agrees on is that something feels different, and whatever it is, it hasn't fully revealed itself yet. At this point, the situation stopped feeling like simple online chatter and started to carry real emotional weight. The tone shifted again, this time into something heavier, or something that felt closer to conflict than confusion. Fans are shocked at how intense everything has become, especially without any clear statement explaining what's actually going on. What made it even more gripping was the sense that something deeper might be happening behind the scenes, something that hasn't been fully revealed yet. The conversation began to focus less on guessing and more on interpreting behavior. Every move or lack of movement became meaningful. When Gucci Mane stayed silent, people didn't see it as neutrality, they saw it as a message. Some fans believe that silence can mean frustration or even disappointment, especially when someone usually known for being vocal chooses not to speak. Others think it could be strategic, a way of letting the situation play out without adding fuel to the fire. But either way, the silence became part of the narrative. At the same time, people started paying closer attention to energy shifts between individuals connected to the situation. Interactions that once seemed normal were now being questioned. Who was still showing support? Who suddenly went quiet? Who seemed to distance themselves? Social media is going crazy trying to track these patterns, with fans breaking down timelines like investigators searching for clues. Some people think these shifts point toward tension or disagreement, while others argue that it's all coincidence being magnified under a spotlight. What added even more intensity was the emotional investment from fans. This wasn't just about drama anymore, it started to feel personal for the audience. Gucci Mane represents growth, discipline, soar, and transformation for many people who have followed his journey. So seeing even a hint of instability or conflict creates a strong reaction. Emotions ran high as fans debated not just what is happening, but what it means for his image and legacy. Some are protective, defending him no matter what. Others are concerned, wondering if something serious is unfolding behind closed doors. Then came another twist that pushed the conversation even further. A few indirect messages, whether intentional or not, started circulating again. And this time, people read into them even more deeply. Some fans believe these messages were responses, subtle but deliberate, hinting at underlying issues without making anything public. Others think it's the internet overanalyzing normal behavior, turning ordinary posts into something dramatic. Nothing is confirmed, but the timing of these moments made them impossible for fans to ignore. The idea of behind the scenes conflict became stronger at this stage. Unconfirmed reports suggest that there could be disagreements tied to trust, loyalty, or even expectations that weren't met. These kinds of issues are not uncommon in the industry, but when they involve someone as influential as Gucci Mane, they naturally draw more attention. Some people think this could be a private matter that accidentally spilled into the public eye, while others believe it's something bigger that hasn't fully surfaced yet. Meanwhile, the division among fans became even more noticeable. One side is convinced that there's a serious issue unfolding, something that will eventually come out in full detail. The other side believes this is being blown out of proportion, a mix of coincidence and overreaction fueled by social media. That split has created a kind of tension within the audience itself, with debates getting more intense and opinions becoming more fixed. What makes this moment stand out is the uncertainty. There's no clear villain, no confirmed story, no direct explanation, just a series of signals that people are trying to interpret. And in that uncertainty, the drama feels even bigger. Because when people don't have answers, they create their own narratives, filling in gaps with assumptions and theories. Right now, it feels like everything is building towards something. The energy is too strong, the reactions too intense for this to just fade away quietly. Fans are watching closely, waiting for a breaking point. Whether that's a statement, a reveal, or something unexpected that shifts the entire story. Until then, the tension continues to rise, and the question remains the same. What is really going on behind the scenes? As everything reached its peak, the atmosphere around the situation felt heavier than ever, like the tension had finally built up to a breaking point. Fans are shocked at how far things have come without a single clear explanation, and yet somehow, the silence itself started to feel like an answer. The energy shifted again, this time from speculation to anticipation, as people began expecting something big to happen at any moment. Social media is going crazy, refreshing timelines, watching closely for any sign that might finally reveal what's really going on. What made this moment feel like a turning point was the sudden change in tone from different sides of the conversation. Without directly addressing anything, there were subtle signs that something had shifted behind the scenes. Some fans believe that whatever tension existed may have reached a private resolution, while others think this is just the calm before something even bigger unfolds. Nothing is confirmed, but the timing of these shifts made people stop and pay attention. At the center of it all, Gucci Mane remained largely composed in public, at least on the surface. That alone created even more discussion. Some people think his calm presence is intentional, a way of showing control and avoiding an unnecessary escalation. Others believe it might be masking something deeper, something that hasn't been fully addressed yet. Whether that contrast between what is seen and what might be happening privately is what keeps fans locked into the story. Then came another wave of reactions that added a new layer to everything. Certain posts began circulating again, this time being interpreted in completely different ways than before. Fans started questioning whether earlier moments were misunderstood or if they were actually hints all along. Some people think these were calculated moves, subtle signals placed deliberately. Others argue that it's just hindsight, making everything seem more connected than it really is. Either way, the conversation became more complex, with multiple narratives forming at the same time. Emotions ran high as people tried to make sense of it all. The division among fans didn't disappear. In fact, it became even sharper. When one side feels like the situation has already told its story without needing words, that the silence and subtle shifts are enough to understand what happened. The other side insists that without a direct statement, everything remains speculation, and it's unfair to draw conclusions based on incomplete information. That tension between belief and uncertainty is what keeps the story alive. Unconfirmed reports suggest that whatever happened may have involved deeper issues than what was visible on the surface, possibly tied to trust, expectations, or internal disagreements. But again, nothing has been officially confirmed, and that lack of clarity leaves everything open ended. Some fans believe the truth will eventually come out, while others think it might remain private, something only those directly involved truly understand. What makes this moment stand out is how it feels both like an ending and a beginning at the same time. On one hand, the intensity has reached a point where it seems like things might settle down. On the other hand, there's a lingering feeling that this story isn't fully over yet, that there could still be another twist waiting to surface. That uncertainty keeps people watching, waiting, and questioning. Right now, all eyes remain on Gucci Mane, not just for what he says, but for what he does next. Because in situations like this, actions often speak louder than words. Whether this fades quietly or turns into something bigger, one thing is certain: the impact has already been felt. Fans are still talking, still debating, still trying to figure out what really happened, and maybe that's the most powerful part of all. Not the answers, but the mystery. The fact that even at the peak of everything, there are still questions left unanswered, still pieces missing from the puzzle. That's what keeps the tension alive, what keeps people coming back, hoping for clarity, but never quite getting the full picture. And just like that, we're left with more questions than answers. What started as a few subtle signs turned into a full-blown situation that has fans talking nonstop. Emotions ran high, social media is still going crazy, and people are divided on what all of this really means. Some believe this was something personal that quietly spilled into the public. Others think it could be tied to deeper business or trust issues behind the scenes. And then there are those who feel like everything has been overanalyzed, or blown up by the internet into something bigger than it actually is. But here's the truth. Nothing is confirmed, no clear statement, no direct explanation, just moments, reactions, and a whole lot of speculation. And that's exactly why this situation feels so intense. Because when there's no closure, the mystery sticks. Gucci Mane has always been someone who moves with purpose, and fans know that. So whether this was a calculated silence, a private matter, or just a misunderstood moment, one thing is certain: people are watching closer than ever. And now it comes down to you. What do you think really happened? Was this something deeper behind the scenes? Or is social media just connecting dots that were never meant to be connected? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now. I'm really trying to see what you all think about this. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next story. Because trust me, this one might not be over yet.